Neal Shannacappo. Did I pronounce it right? Oshkabewis was born into the Soter people in winter, just before the spring. So, and since then, he's been many things. As you will see, he's very creative. He's been kidnapped, lost and found, a swimmer, a student, lost and found again, a reader of books and myths and legends of all peoples, a student of life, traveler of the world, lost inside a prison only to finally find his own self, laying in the path to finding his people once more and all over again. Oshkabewish is that which endures. And along his journey, he's transformed himself into an artist, a poet, a writer, a filmmaker, a friend, an activist, and recently, a social service worker. Above all, he is and always will be a helper. He walks through life with a giant wolf who is his guide and companion. Please welcome Neal Shannacappo.
Thanks for having me. So, to tell you my life story, I decided that I'm going to do so with some poems. And I'm going to tell you what those poems mean to me before and after I lead into the next one. And I promise you that when I'm finished, you'll laugh. Unlike every other time when they cry. I was 5 years old when I was taken by Child and Family Services from my mother with my little sister. She was 1. And my mother was given a choice by Child and Family Services that you have 3 children, pick 2, and 1 can stay. So right away she picked my sister. And I guess it took her a couple of weeks, but then she picked me and she said that I was to look after my sister. And I did a good job until I was 18. When I was 7, after I lived on the Mennonite farm for about 2 years, a white family came and adopted me. And for all intents and purposes, they gave me an awesome life. Materialistically. From the first day that I was in their house or in their presence, I got a beating with the belt. And that continued on every day after until I left and was permanently out of the reach when I was 18. With them, I traveled the world. Lived in Germany for a year, learned another language, not my language. Saw the most beautiful sight I've ever seen in my life. The Sea of Spain, holding the rock. I watched the sunrise on the surface of the water. This poem's called Misco Keys. It means red sun. And I wrote this after I met my people. I had been born to red mother, she-goat, red father. Underneath a massive cowboy hat, beneath a weeping tree of willow tresses, below the soft eyes of a red sun wilting, submerged is my heart, my soul in red blood. And yet, I've been born with the gift of ovation of voice. Carried on into day when a rolling pen held tenderly throughout the evening, cupped quietly across the sea of darkened night, held tight inside the morning kiss of my red skin, and yet I have been born with cascading Muckaday hair, flowing brown eyes shaded with breath of black. Flowing lightly across my skin, a whisper of browning subsiding. As brightly as yours is my smile that shines, sighing inside with a quiet mind, red as the twilight sun, and yet I've been born with a mind as white as snow. In this world of yawning full splendid color, inside the gloated gaze of cocoa, the watchful moon, amid a washing cast I have been swollen, among a sea of wind, hailed across the earth of my kindred kind so red, and yet my people still call me machine, apple, under my red stained tears. I met the first thing of people when I was 18. I say I was 18 because I met them when I had been to this massive powwow before, and I met several thousand in Niagara Falls. But I never actually spoke to them, and they never spoke to me. When I was 18, I killed somebody, and I ended up in prison in Manitoba. And that was where I met my people for the first time, and that was how they treated me. That was actually how my birth family treated me as well. When I went to go find my birth mother, I was too white. This is called moment when, and this is what I learned. My first lessons in prison. Destiny, fate, and chance is a choice. One minute, a moment where we do not ask the one thing we know instinctively should. Instead, we panic, we grieve, and we arbitrarily choose another, a different road. One we regret having chosen later, a moment after a day, a month, a year, or 3, because it's so fucking painful to admit that we were wrong. And we want to take it back, start over and begin again. So we do nothing to set things right. Stay the course. Because it's easier to be wrong than to take a chance at being right when fear whispers to us that we cannot be, that we cannot be. So we make do. Fate is that which we just accept. Chance is the fear that anything, everything can be forgiven, everything can be forgotten, made to never have mattered, because how can anyone care or love us that much? Destiny is silence. And all we wish to do is to take one breath. Everything wasn't lost for me in prison. I said I met my people there and I came home. And at first they were very unforgiving, unaccepting of me. And then one year I met this native guy from Gaeton. I thought he was Italian. Big pale skin, Italian nose and hair, and he dressed like a Gino or something like that. And he walks up to me and he just transferred to this new institution. It's a minimum security. And he goes, "Hey man, you going to that sweat tonight?" And I said, no. He said, "It's 5 o'clock, come to the sweat." I'm thinking, okay, this white guy's asking me to go to the sweat. So I'll think about it. 10 minutes later, I'm in a canteen line and there's some black people there, white people there. And this big, built, older white guy walks in and goes, "Hey, you going to the sweat? You're native." I go, no, I don't think so. Just come up to the sweat. Okay, so there's a lot of white people going to the sweat tonight. I don't even know where the sweat is. I've been there for 45 minutes now. So I said, fuck it, I'm going to go. I'm going to go to the sweat. I'm not going to not go to the sweat. White guy says, "Go to the sweat." I can't go to the sweat. So I went and I found out that they were native. So that began my spiritual journey inside a prison. And my second sweat lodge, well, in my first one I started to see things. I thought I was like hallucinating or lack of the heat was getting to me. And then my second sweat lodge, this is what I saw. This is called In the Colds. The sky danced the glimmer of setting sun blue, softly through into the night, like rafters keeping us safe on our path under heaven. Trees wove themselves over us, breathing light from coals washed the 5 gathered faces, flickered in their eyes and over the bodies of the quiet I saw. In the south, like waves from beneath the sea, one spirit shone with a shimmering breath, and another in the west settled on the rafters there with a sighing light barely seen and hardly felt. Amid the rafters of the north, one other spirit swayed. There too an ethereal visitor echoed in the east. In the quiet I saw bright faces, strong and painted with a wash of contentment, save two, both fallen of crest and still under the watchful eyes of Malcolmus high in the skies. One rose to smiling, holding a light before him closely, but woe fell across the other for being there within already, as if unable to escape for eyes unseeing. In the quiet I saw. I watched the struggle between 3 spirit cousins. Over and all around they fought where he had fallen. So vicious this fight, it cast a shroud over everything of him. For these 2 beasts snarled and slashed for dominance, while the third sat quietly, as if waiting, or perhaps just watching, with great patience, for one to fall, and it too was evil. In the quiet I saw. The sky shone softly in the ambient light of stars unglimpsed, for Nokomis with her watching eyes held us, as only grandmothers do, for having loved and loved her children too. All through the night she held us as we sailed without a sound across and over the blue of setting sun, somewhere next to here, with the warmth of coals burning nowhere save inside. In the quiet I saw. In the quiet I saw 5 souls glimmering. In the quiet I saw war across one red road. In the quiet I saw spirits of 4 ancestors. In the quiet I saw everything. Nothing, all that I needed. In the darkness of the Madodos, when it is dark as pitch, and still in the act, before the door whispered to open, I saw in the quiet still. That's been probably one of the biggest parts of my healing journey of coming from a survivor, is the sweat log, the pipe ceremony, smudging. I don't smudge every day. I smudge when I need to. I always carry tobacco. Unfortunately, I left my tobacco in my bag. A little pouch of tobacco in case somebody needs one. I'll give them. The other thing that I learned in prison was how to go from being a person that was capable of killing somebody, a person who buried everything in his life, all the good and all the bad, until the point where he was incapable of loving, incapable of feeling fear, incapable of feeling hatred or rage because it was gone. It was beaten out of me by my parents. It was raped out of me by my mother. And in prison I learned how to love again. Not another guy. Just want to say that. And that's been a struggle too. It's been an interesting journey all of its own. So part of the thing I've done with my poetry throughout my sentence, or that part of my life was write and write and write and write and write. And eventually guys came to notice that I was writing poetry, and they started paying me. Here's a bunch of tobacco, what do you need, a lot of them. this is Winter Rose, and this is how I made my living in prison. I didn't sell drugs. I didn't sell the canteen. I wrote poems. And I was in love at the time that I wrote this. I lay here in the stillness of night like last night, the night before, alone with no one to hear my voice, echoing the silence against these walls that slowly close in each night, tonight, every night. I watch these winds outside my window, brushing the cold snow across the valleys between trees, and I cannot help myself from wondering if the cold scratches at your window, whispering in shivers across your shoulders over pain. Does it echo my love instead? Does it dream of you like I do? Does it hold our love like a rose? Does it breathe across your neck like I do? I don't know to again. I watch the languid snows falling to the ground, down from the canopy of remembered leaves, of many folded memory they cut fast within a view of me, and in these arms you bathe, inside the rhythms of our hearts beating like one. I shiver within the memory of your body next to mine, of the way you fit beside me as if we too slept to dream, until dawn broke with pastel shadows across our bed, to fall upon you the rose of lush and vibrant life, and each moment cast a whispering light from dawning day. I remember watching you in those moments as if it were this morning, yesterday, the day before. And this memory fills the bed that yawns beside me. With your waking eyes and smile beneath the first ray of light, when you looked so fragile with the foreshadow of strength, I see you, my love, everywhere these eyes do fall. In the roses of winter only these eyes can see, I see you smiling in the falling snow, bathed in moonlight and the wind billowing across the twilight earth. I remember you in every shiver touch my shoulders. Each an echo of your love, each a dream touching my skin, holding your soul as if it were a rose in bloom for this heart still singing with your embrace. And I do, every night, each night, this night. I think of you, and of the day, the morning when my winter rose, I see you smiling. The hardest and most difficult part of my journey wasn't so much the healing part of it, it was coming to accept the fact that there's this thing, this intangible thing called honor. And in prison, it doesn't really promote honor, it doesn't promote respect and compassion. And I was 24, and this woman, this warrior, asked me if I was a warrior. And I said, I don't know what that means. So I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and then I wrote about it. I was still in a medium maximum prison at this time. And I decided when I was 22 to change my life, and that I wasn't going to end up in prison forever. And that in order to do so, I had to live a life that was good and nothing but good. And so, despite everybody else that lived there and the CSC staff and Corrections Canada, that's what I did. I wasn't very good at it to begin with, but then I became good. Are you a warrior? I was asked in the quiet solitude of day, and I wandered long into the night. And what does a warrior make? By a warrior, you mean one who always tries to do the right thing, even when doing what is right tears my heart in two, one who does the right thing just because it is. If by a warrior you mean someone who always makes time to listen, who brings you a smile when you least expect it, who laughs with you every day today, just like yesterday, and cries a flood of tears so yours do not fall alone. By a warrior you mean one who stands up for those in need, who fights for those who cannot or will not, who turns the other cheek in the face of rage, hatred, and bigotry, walks away when my blood screams out injustice. And if this is all it seems I have left to choose, because walking away is the right choice. By a warrior you mean someone who will always try to be there for you, always trying to move heaven and hell to keep his promise to. Someone whose soul withers and screams when I cannot, have not. Supports you when you are wrong, because that is when you need it the most. By warrior, do you mean a person of honor, of compassion, faith, and humility, someone of strength, trust, of love, and respect, someone of ethics and integrity and the will to live by them, the courage to fight for your dreams and to fight for my own. Someone will always apologize and say, I'm so very sorry I hurt you. By war, you mean all of these things. All I can say to you is this, just this and only this. I do not know if I'm a warrior, but I want to be. The last part of my journey has been finding humor and the ability to laugh at myself and my life and all the baggage I have. Share a little bit about it with him. Hopefully you find this funny. So, I'm 25 at this point. Again, it's Stony Mountain Penitentiary, and I've written a book, published my own book, myself, a chapbook it was called. And unlike everybody else that tried to publish a chapbooks, I spent every penny I had and got the best chapbook ever, and I got 29 copies, and for what I paid, I could have got thousands of copies made, but it was awesome. I was so happy. So I invited the warden, the deputy warden, the priest, the nun, the teachers who taught me poetry to come to this book launch. Invited my friends, and I closed with this poem. It's called Dr. Friday. Good afternoon, my name is Dr. Friday. I work on Tuesday. Tuesday is my secretary. She has the most beautiful red hair, even on her head. One night as I was driving Tuesday to a party, the car got stuck, so we pushed and pulled, and then we got the car unstuck. At the party, everyone was into Mary, but then she left, and everyone jumped in joy. Joe was hanging nude by the chandeliers. A little while later, we all sat down to dinner. Pam served a big round of beef jerky. I had seconds, and then Pam brought out the food. For dessert, she rolled out a huge cake with 6 new ladies on it. We each had a piece, and then we ate the cake. As I drove Tuesday home, some asshole threw a rock right through the windshield and hit poor Tuesday right on the breast and damn near broke my fingers. As we stood outside Tuesday's front door, I looked her in the eye, and I kissed her passionately. But as things got heated up, she moved her legs and broke my glasses. Her father came out then, and he was mad. He told me to beat it. So being a gentleman that I am, I did.